Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 100 of the Pressure Point podcast, our live episode, the first one we've done, which is very exciting.
It's very scary too, if I'm being honest.
It's different.
I'm not used to this.
It is very different.
We've hit the ton.
We have.
We've hit the ton.
It's a proud moment.
It's been a long journey.
It's a
long time coming. We've got some,
And the good thing about today is we've had the public holiday. We've had Queen's birthday to prepare for it, which is good because I know if we're working today, it would have been a mad scramble, but it's been good.
Well, we've had a nightmare of things happen today. For starters, we got some new lights in, and of course the input was the American input. So we went to the shops, went and bought an adapter.
Yep.
The adapter didn't work, of course, so I had to scrap the new lights. Then Big Chieftain, your dog, just had a massive spew about an hour ago. So we had to, you cleaned it up. I was going to say we cleaned it up. It was all you. We had to clean that up and just a bit of a muck around. Move studios for the day.
Yep.
That was somewhere new.
Yep.
So it's been a lot going on.
It's all happening. But yeah, no, we've got some big guests lined up for tonight as well. And for the fans listening out there, feel free to jump in whenever you want. We'll post a link in the description. So jump in the waiting room when you're keen to come on. But let's get the show on the road, shall we?
Absolutely.
Let's get our first guest on. We've got Jake from Saints TV. Let's bring him in. Here he is. Jake, how are you, mate?
Yeah, pretty good, boys. Pretty good. How you going?
Yeah, going well. Pretty excited for the 100th episode, which is great. So I know you told us yesterday you're at 85, I think it was. So you're not too far off us.
Yeah. Congrats on that. Did you guys do the podcast through COVID as well, like we did?
Yeah, so we started probably, I think, just when round 2 kicked back in 2020, just after that big break, we started ours. So yeah, through COVID.
Yeah, congrats. Nice job.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, mate.
We pushed through it. It wasn't just a lockdown thing. So made it 100 episodes in, but it's been great. But no, thanks for joining us, mate. So we'll obviously talk about your Sainers, and we may as well start there and see how you've thought their season's gone. Obviously, you've been pretty good. You're sitting nicely in the 8s. A couple of losses here and there, but yeah, sum up your season so far and how you've seen the Sainers.
Above expectations for sure. Yeah, I think we're all just got some newfound faith in the team. We've always been a team that, like 2017, we looked good in patches and looked like a cheeky chance of making the 8, but we just couldn't pull it together consistently. And this year, so far, we've turned up every week. Our first loss to Collingwood was in round 1, and look what they just did to Melbourne. So they're looking like a pretty good team. Then we coughed it up to Port when we should have won. Lost to Melbourne when they were playing their best footy. And on the weekend, we played a very good team away from home with a few injuries and a few sick boys. So no excuses, but the losses haven't been like last year. Last year, the first 10 weeks, we lost 4 or 5 games by over 50 points. And our biggest loss this year after 13 weeks is like 6 goals to Melbourne. So, yeah, I'd just say ultra consistent at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd take that for sure. And I mean, you don't want to use the term honourable losses, but I think all the ones you have had this year have been exactly that. And one person that's already haunted me a bit this year is Maxi King. Obviously kicked a few against the Tigers earlier this year. You must be thrilled with what he's doing at the moment.
Yeah, no, he's only 21. He just tipped over his 50th game, which is hard to believe. He's only played the 50 games. But Maxi's, I think most non-Sainers would agree that he's going to be a superstar. It's just kind of a matter of when he pulls it all together. I think he's still a bit prone to having the down game every now and then. And down game for him is like 6 shots, 7 shots on goal and just not kicking straight. So he's always getting his hands, like you can't stop him from marking the footies. His reach is probably better than anyone's in the comp, so he's a nightmare to play on, but just gives us a point of difference. Every good team needs just that A-grader, and Saints fans have been dying for A-grader since 2010, and we've got Steely, who's been growing. Sinks is getting there, Gresh, but to have a future gun full forward is it's a step closer to getting to that second flag, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you mentioned Jack Steele there, and how big of a loss has he been? Obviously, probably been your best player over the last couple of years. However, I mean, you guys have actually done quite well without him in the side, but how has that been felt amongst the supporter base, especially?
I think when it first happened, we were a bit worried. But even like 2-3 days after the injury, we all kind of looked at our list and we talked about it on our potty that even when he was playing, he wasn't like the number one player on the ground every week, like he was in 2020 and 21 when he just romped the best and fairest, got heaps more votes than everyone else. It was just a cakewalk for him. Whereas this year we've seen Crouchy get back to his best. Zach Jones, he's been out, but he's coming back in. Gresh has been in career best form. Sinks has gone in there and done a great job. And then you've got Seb Ross, who's kind of like rejuvenated his career and really lifted to his best and fairest standards from a couple of years ago. So we feel like we've got the depth there. And our only loss since he's been away is the Brisbane game. We've won 3 and lost 1. So I think he's due to come back, not this week, but hopefully against Sydney in a fortnight. So if we can go 4-1, hopefully we beat the Bombers, but if we can go 4-1 in that time he's away, you're like, massive tick on the list. We didn't fall apart in the absence of our best player and our captain as well, leadership-wise. So, yeah, I think it's a loss, but yeah, we've handled it pretty well, I think.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'll give you a couple of questions to sort of like a mid-year review for the Sainers. We'll start with your game of the year so far. So, what's been your best win?
Anyone that knows me and knows Saints TV know that I absolutely hate Geelong. By far, it's just I went to school there. My best mate's a cat, so you can imagine 09 going to school in Geelong in year 11 and copping it every single week after being like the best team all year. So that's pretty traumatic events that are going to stick with me forever, I think. So yeah, the Geelong win, like especially the way it happened. We were down by about 20 points in the third term with only 10 minutes to go, and then we slam on 7 goals out of nowhere and kind of torch them at the end, similar to the way we beat the Tigers. I think you'd remember that.
All too well.
So yeah, the Tigers win would be probably second on that list, but the Cats, we haven't beaten them in ages. They always smash us, so good to beat a bogey team, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what I can resonate with. I love beating Geelong. I'm not sure what reason, but I know I love beating them. But in the same sort of vein, who do you reckon's been your best player so far, or your favourite player to watch this year?
I think best would have to be Sinks, pretty comfortably. He's been amazing off halfback, and I think most people would have him in their All-Australian team somewhere, whether it's bench or he'd be there. He'd be leading the best and fairest pretty comfortably at the moment, I'd say. I think he's had 4 weeks in a row now over 30, and he's our best ball user. He runs all day, defends, but he also is good on the attack. So he's got that perfect balance. And my favourite player, if I had to pick one, probably Gresh. I just love watching the way he weaves in and out of traffic, and I love a mid that can have 20 but impact the scoreboard as well, and he does that. So definitely Gresh.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, yeah, Jack Sinclair's definitely been one of the most improved players this year, that's for sure. What's your prediction for the rest of the season? Where do you see the Saints finishing up?
It's hard to tell. We've got a pretty tricky draw for the rest of the year. We've still got Sydney twice. We've still got to play Geelong in Geelong. We've got to play Brisbane again. Carlton obviously isn't going to be easy in a couple of weeks, although you won't have your full back, which is going to be handy. And then we've got the Dogs on top of that, and Hawthorn, who are going all right. So I'd like to think we can notch over that 13-14 win mark. 6 or 7 more wins would be great. We've got 7 more games at Marvel, and I want us to kind of just lock in those games and just win games at home, because if you do that, you're probably finishing on 14 or 15 wins anyway, and then you've got a bit more room to lose. Not that you want to. So I'll go 5th to 7th. I don't think we'll go lower than 7th, ideally.
No, I don't. Yeah, I can't see you really dropping below that 7th mark at the moment. Yeah, I'm probably similar to you. I don't see you squeezing into the 4, but I don't see you finishing any lower than 7th either. So I think that 5th to 7th range is pretty spot on. You're playing some consistent footy. As long as you can keep that up, I reckon you guys are going to be pretty in good stead for the rest of the season. You thinking the same?
Yeah, exactly. I think that 5th to 7th mark. But yeah, I can't see you guys dropping out of the 8, that's for sure. Even though I heard that somewhere today. So don't think that's going to be.
I just tweeted him actually like 2 minutes ago. Just like, what do you maybe he should talk about Melbourne. Maybe they're going to drop out of the 8. So.
Exactly.
He's that ridiculous. He would say something like that. That's not a surprise at all. So.
Yeah. All right, mate. Just before we let you go, we'll do the pressure cooker on you, where we'll ask some quick fire questions, and then we'll let you get on with the rest of your night. So I'll start us off. If you had to delist one player on your team, who would it be?
Oh my god, talk about pressure cooker. It's probably going to be Tom Campbell, the North Melbourne ruckman that we got.
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful. And then on the other token, if you could add one player from another list, who would it be?
Oh, this one I've wanted him for a while. Tim Taranto from GWS, superstar.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
That's a good one. Would you wear your team colours to a neutral game?
I've never done that. It depends on how we're going. If we're the reigning premiers, you wear it everywhere, don't you?
Yeah, just about.
You
Just
make
going
a
down
good
to get
point.
a coffee. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think it depends. I don't mind that. Well, similar. Footy jumpers to games, yes or no?
Like wearing it over the jumper. Like
Yeah.
I do. Well, that's my go-to. I wear the I've got the signed number 7 Lenny Hayes Guernsey, so I wear that every week.
Nice.
I feel like that'd be rude not to wear the signed Lenny Hayes
you got to,
jersey.
it's Lenny.
He's God, isn't he? Yeah, everyone loves Lenny. Love that.
And the last couple, which team do you love beating the most? I think you might have answered that already before.
Yeah,
Cats.
Geelong. Yeah, but if it's not Geelong, I'll go second one in line. It'd have to be. I hate to say it, but it'd have to be the Blues.
Okay.
Just, especially if we do it this year. You're up and about. Are you still in the top 4?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
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 Smile on his face. He's
If they beat the Tigers this Thursday night, they're equal first.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a weird
doesn't
one.
sound
I
right.
kind of don't know who I want to win because we've got the Bombers on the Friday, and if you win,
you got to buy.
you'll jump up higher. But if the Tigers win, I think you'll go above us temporarily.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
9 wins, I think, or 8 wins. Can't remember what you're on.
I think it'll be 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's a tough one. No one wants to see Carlton top of the ladder, so you'll be on the Tigers bandwagon, no doubt. That's all good. And then last one of the pressure cooker, and a bit of heat on you here because you've only just met us about 5-10 minutes ago. But who's your favourite Pressure Point co-host?
I mean, considering one of you follows, I've got to go you, mate. Tigers.
Yeah.
I like the Tigers there. They've also got the better theme song. I actually rate the theme song. You go to the gym, you hear the yellow and black going. You got to get on board that.
All right, let's get him off now.
Love that, mate. Awesome. Thank you very much for jumping on. We love everything you're doing over at Saints TV. These fan channels that are popping up are, an incredible thing. You give a lot of people a bit of joy, especially after a win. Fans want to jump on and have a watch. So you're doing great things over there.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it, mate. And yeah, have a good night.
You too. See ya.
See you, mate. Geez, how good's that?
That was good. I love the passion. And yeah, geez.
That was his footy.
Geelong as well hasn't really been a popular selection for the team you hate the most. Usually it's one of the big 4 teams, but it was interesting. I like it.
A lot of people don't like Geelong because of the sustained success.
Yeah, probably. That's probably.
I mean,
the Saints have had some big
big clashes. Yeah, absolutely. They haven't dropped off Geelong when you think about it. I mean, 07 was their first of their dynasty, and they're still going.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's been well over 10 years now, so it's time for them to drop off, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that was good. But yeah, if anyone, for all the Saints fans out there, I'm sure you're all over Saints TV. But if you're not, make sure you give them a follow and tune into his videos. He's doing some great things there. All right, let's get our next guest on. We know this guy very well. He was our first ever guest actually on the Pressure Point podcast.
I'm not going to bother asking him the last question in the pressure cooker.
Yeah, I think we know the answer to that.
Yeah,
already,
no point asking him this one.
But his name is Terry Degani. He's from Blue Abroad. He's in the building somewhere. Here he is. Terry, how are you, mate?
Boys, congratulations. Happy birthday. And what a pleasure it is to be back on. Look at us.
Who would have thought we'd be here this many episodes later? Thank you very much, mate. You've been a massive supporter of us for a very long time now, so we really appreciate it.
No, of course, mate. These are special moments. You've got to cherish them.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I know. Just trying to think when we had that first ever guest episode was midway through 2020, and we were operating with some interesting graphics and not really sure how Zoom or Skype, which one was the right thing to do. And now we're on StreamYard. It's all happening, and very, very, very grateful for everything and for all your help along the way too, mate. It's been super.
No, don't even mention it, boys. We've got 100 down. We've only got about 900 more episodes to go.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's it. Just a few more. But obviously, you'd be pretty stoked at the moment. I know you and Marcus will probably get into it right now, but the Blues are absolutely flying at the moment. And I see you've been pretty chirpy after a big win against the Bombers, spoiling their birthday party. I hope you don't do the same for ours. But what are your thoughts at the moment, mate? You're obviously loving life.
Yeah, grateful because obviously, Quinn. I'm sure you're aware of the life that we've just been living in Carlton land, and we haven't quite risen over the mountain yet, and we've been waiting for a turning point. And it looks like, I know it's halfway through the year, but it really does look like a turning point has come, and hopefully this is the beginning of the Carlton run.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. I was just saying that before. I think if we beat Richmond next week, we go equal top. I mean, just hearing those words just doesn't sound right, does it?
It doesn't sound right. I was actually chatting about this the other night. Usually in this point of the season, we're talking about how probably can't make finals. Hey, like we're just not one of those teams, and the change in conversation around. I'm pretty sure we're going to play finals, and you get more and more confident with each win that you get. And I've been saying that you've got to win 12 to make finals, but it almost now looks like you've got to win 13. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, for sure. I think the game against Essendon as well was always going to be a test, especially without Wiedering. But I felt like players like Lewis Young, even having Marchbank back in the team was super. And I mean, if we can get the output from those guys while Wiedering's out, then I think we'll be able to do a lot better over the next few weeks than originally thought. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 100%. It's never as good as it seems, but it's also never as bad as it seems. And with Marchbank in the side now, I don't know. Like, do we start planning with Marchbank? If we do, we've got Marchbank, Wiedering at one end, Harry, Charlie at the other end, Cripps, Walsh, Hewitt in the middle. Like, that's a flag, right?
Oh, jeez.
That's a big call. That's what that is. That's a big call.
You never know. But yeah, they're playing bloody good footy, and it's usually hard for us to admit it at times, considering where we've been. But the footy that we're seeing at the moment is incredible, and that midfield is doing some crazy things. So it's good to see. And I mean, I know you find it hard to talk good about Carlton at times, and you've definitely admitted it at stages this year as well.
I think the funniest thing from my point of view is going to games with you as well is you guys might be 20 points up in the last quarter, and for everyone else, it's like, oh, game's done, it's wrapped up, and you still, I think you're not used to having these sorts of wins and holding on. You can still see you're real nervous. You're not used to the fact that, oh, we'll win this one now. And I think that's the funny thing, seeing you jump over that hurdle and accepting that your team's actually pretty good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Terry, you say that a lot. It's that PTSD that we've had for 20 years, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we've always been waiting every week. It's like, well, how are we going to muff it this week? Like, what's it going to be this week? And at which point in the game are we going to fall apart this week? And now that that's changing, and well, it's changed, they're a real competitive unit. Like they've got this real desire about them, and you can just tell, like they're just all committed and really united.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It sums it up really well. And I think Vossi, arguably our biggest recruit in the off season, he's been super, and the spray that he gave on Friday night as well. What did you think of it? I personally loved it, and considering we were winning and had full control of the game, for him to do that was good to see.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty is we've got a coach who's actually climbed the mountain at a really high level. He's captained a club, to 3 flags in a row. So within that, you got expectations. It's hard to stay at the top for a long time. Obviously the Tigers have been able to do it, and they sit right with the Lions as one of the the big dynasties of the modern era. And to have that guy coaching us, I mean, if you're a player, like there's a reason why he's going at the guys, and just looks like he's trying to raise the standards, which is, again, exactly what we asked for over the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering where we've been, I mean, how many times last year did we talk about David Teague on the podcast and what was going on there? So to have a breath of fresh air like Michael Voss has been incredible.
I think one thing I was really impressed with was on the weekend, 3/4 time against the Bombers, you guys were leading like relatively comfortably. It didn't seem like there was any real threat to the game there, and Vossi was going off on the boys. He was teeing off.
More on that effort and standards.
100%. And that's the thing. I think probably last year, if you guys had been up, it would have been, what on, boys? You're killing it. You're winning. But this year, it's like we're winning, but not good enough.
Yep. Yeah, it's good to see the standards.
Exactly right. All right. Well, let's ask some mid-year questions like we did with Jake before. We'll start off with game of the year so far.
Don't do it.
Richmond.
I knew it. This is when we asked you earlier, 2 years ago now, which your favorite game of all time was. It was 2013 elimination final as well. I got to stop jumping on these podcasts, honestly.
It's a sign of respect. That's
I'll
taken
take
as a badge of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll take that. I'll accept it. All right. Who's been your best player so far? There's been a few.
Wow. God, Cripps has been. I think he's been our best player. But there's so many of them. I think Cripps just.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue that. He's one of the Brownlow favourites as well.
Yeah. I mean, his first 7-8 rounds was incredible. Some of the best football I've seen from a player. It was, absolutely nuts. It dropped off a little bit, but that's only due to his high standards, really.
It's goal kicking too that he's been doing this year, which has been lacking. So,
yep. And where we're finishing up, end of the year, be careful.
I had a listen. I caught the end of Jake from Saints TV, and you obviously asked the question to him, and I went back to the ladder predictor, just reshuffle things a little bit. I've got us winning. Initially, I had us winning 12 games. I'm looking at 14 wins now, which will give us, if I've calculated correctly, 5th spot.
And that's a home final. That is a home final. That could be, if we finish 5th, and by the looks of the ladder at the moment,
Richmond are 8th. Nah, I can't do it.
Collingwood are 8th. Imagine one of those again in a big
I couldn't
final.
do another elimination final against the Blues. I couldn't do it.
Talk about PTSD.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think. I reckon I'd leave the country and just hope for the best from somewhere abroad. But speaking of the Tigers, obviously it's this Thursday night. We're playing again, round 14 at the G. Tigers obviously want to bounce back after round 1. Blues up and about at the moment. What are your thoughts on this game? Wiedering out, Lynch comes in. It obviously makes a big difference, but I think you got the stocks to cover yourselves around the rest of the ground. How are you thinking it's going to pan out?
I think we do. I mean, look, I think we do have enough to win the game. I think it's going to be red hot. I think it's going to be a tight game. I don't care what everyone else says. I still have Richmond, as one of the teams that you respect more than most, because what at any given game, especially at the MCG, they can play as good as anybody there if it's all gelling for them. And Lynch back gives them the identity of who they are back, and their back six is humming along as well. So full respect to Richmond, but I've got faith in our group, and I think we've got plenty of players that are playing that can still help to get the job done. And I just think it's going to be a coin flip of a game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be as hot as it was round 1. I mean, weather-wise, who knows? It could be wet like it was for the Essendon game. But I think, to be honest, I'm not just saying this as a Carlton man, but I do think we've got the better team and we're playing the better footy at the moment. And I fully expect us to win. But in saying that, I think if Richmond do win, then you're well and truly back, I'd say. Maybe not back as that force, but I think you're going to be back into that finals contention. So
yeah, I don't think we're going to be back as that sort of force, but 100%. If we can beat the Blues this season, I'll be pretty confident going forward that we will play finals. And in round 1, Terry, we had a bet to see whichever team won. The other one had to buy a 3-game membership. So I am a Carlton member this season, as much as it hurts to admit. I've used it for 1 game, so I've got 2 more games to tick off before the end of the year, but we need help. We need another bet to come up with for this week. We need help. We can't think of one. So we're asking you. We've got the man behind the Richmond journey coming up next as well. We're going to speak to him and see what he thinks and sort of pick which way he reckons is the best. But any ideas? What can you throw towards us?
You've already worn the Guernsey. I think you did that last year, right?
Yeah, the Guernsey was...
that was round 1. So
it
was the Guernsey,
and the membership. Yeah, it was a double whammy round 1. So
I'm going to say I got it. You donate another 3-game membership to one of your audience members.
Ooh.
Yeah.
From the other club.
Yeah.
So you find a Richmond supporter or a Carlton supporter and you donate one.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
We
keep it even. We keep it even.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful.
Yeah, love it. All right, Terry.
Terry.
We'll jump into the pressure cooker. So the quick 5 questions, then we'll let you go and get on with the rest of your night. If you had to delist one player on your team, who would it be?
Probably hard at the moment because you're so good.
Will Hayes. That's an easy. That's a cop out of an answer for me.
It's a bit. He came on board with us last week. So
you give the man a chance, Terry. Honestly, if you could add one player from another list, who are you picking?
Dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't argue that.
Would you wear your team colours to a neutral game?
No.
Footy jumpers to games, yes or no?
No from me.
Yep. Which team do you love beating the most? I think I know the answer to this one.
Essendon.
It's a team with a sash, but it ain't Richmond.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I'm bothering asking the last one, but who's your favorite pressure point coach?
You've said this already.
Yeah, you've answered it now. You come back on your words. So.
Mate, when you're part of the family, blood is thicker than water. Marcus is my man, and for obvious reasons. Quinn, if you were wearing a Blues Guernsey, I don't know, it would be different.
Well, yeah, if it was the second episode of the year, maybe I would have had one on after the loss. That's all good. All good. I knew that one was coming.
Awesome. No, well, yeah, thanks a lot again, Terry, for coming on, mate. And yeah, again, thank you for all your support over the journey since we've started. It's been much appreciated. And yeah, for those listening, Blue Abroad, make sure you follow. I'm sure a lot of you would have heard of it. It's one of the best fan channels going around in the country. So make sure you give them a follow, all the Carlton supporters out there especially. So, but no, thanks, Terry, and good luck with the Blue Abroad show tonight as well.
Thanks so much, guys. Congratulations. Honestly, it's a serious achievement, paving the way, for the footy media world. And, I think the improvement that you guys have shown is a real testament to the work that goes in. So keep it up and, always right in your corner.
Thanks, Terry, mate.
Thank you very much,
appreciate
mate.
it. Much appreciated. See you, mate.
See you, boys.
Hey, Tez.
Oh, love it. Love it. What a man.
You need a tissue? You're getting all excited after Terry comes on.
It's always dangerous getting Carlton fans on because you can really just keep going and going and going, like you are when you get your Richmond supporters on too.
I'm a little more calm, mate.
Shut
I'm a footy fan before I'm a Richmond fan, mate. I love the game.
Oh, here we go.
Just
because we've got a live audience doesn't mean you need to suck up to all the neutrals out there. So.
Oh, absolutely. Gotta appeal to everybody.
I'm loving the comments coming through though. Wouldn't mind getting a couple up.
We've got a few.
Joey,
two of the most disgusting fan bases on live stream. How good? No, none of us go for Essendon. So
exactly. So
that's an interesting one. Maybe next time, Joseph. But
well,
feel free to jump on, mate.
That's Simon Madden in that display picture. Yeah, it is. Yeah, interesting. What else we got here? Scotty Morris.
Sauce, can we confirm the rumours of your long-awaited return to Springvale Districts before season's end?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Potsy. He's my manager.
You have to get a clearance from the Elsamig Footy Club first, mate. They're still waiting for you to come down.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Let's not talk about local footy tonight, please.
We'll skip past footy. Is there any more we should read through before we move on to our next guest?
What else? Have we got another one from Joseph down the bottom there? Where is he? Yep. Brilliant to see the guy on the left attending games again. The MCG's missed you. All right. Yeah, that's cool. What's the day count for the last time SM won a final? Is it almost at 7,000? Not too sure.
Yeah, anyway. It's pretty high number. Yeah. Well, why don't we quickly just touch on as well the game that just took place?
Yeah.
Queen's birthday.
Exactly right. That was incredible. What are we thinking? Are the Pies the real deal, or are Melbourne actually sliding?
I don't think the D's are sliding as much as what 3 games in a row losing would suggest, but I do think Collingwood are the real deal. They've won 3 games in a row now by very tight margins, and to hold on, that's final style football that they're playing. If they can just maintain it, then I think they'll play finals and they'll potentially win a final or 2 as well going forward. So if they can continue that form, I'm liking what I see from the Pies. How about you? I know they knocked you guys off a couple of weeks ago, so you've seen it firsthand.
Well, I mean, exactly. Well, they've beaten Freo over there. They've beaten Carlton. Now they've beaten Melbourne. Like it's ridiculous. I think that proves that you're the real deal, doesn't it? When you're winning games like that against the top 4 teams.
Well, that's the thing.
And they've played Brisbane. They did play Brisbane already. So they've lost to Brisbane, but they've beaten the other 3 in the top 4 at the moment. So
and I think if they played Brisbane, I mean, granted at the G makes it a little bit easier. If they played Brisbane now at the G, I'd give them a good chance to knock them off as well. At this point in their season. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from Collingwood so far. The big freeze, obviously, a few blokes and girls went down the slide earlier. Who's your favourite outfit?
Geez, there were some good ones. I did like, was it Terry Danaher? A bit of Crocodile Dundee.
Croc Dundee. He went to spray tan and everything.
Yeah,
he went all out on that one.
A+ for effort. What else was there? Eddie Bettsman's Black Panther.
That was good. I didn't mind that. Didn't mind that at all.
Hamish Blakeman is
Queen Elsa.
Yep.
For the Queen's birthday.
Yep. What was your favourite?
I didn't mind Hamish's. Ash Barty's wasn't too bad as well.
Yeah. Of course you'd say Ash Barty. She's a Richmond fan.
She's a Richmond fan. Number 1 ticket holder. The monkey from Lion King, the one that holds Simba up. I don't know his name. Rafiki. That's the one. Yeah, she won his Rafiki. So that one was good. Didn't mind that at all. But it was a brilliant game of footy to watch. I mean, you save footy for Mondays, which a lot of people calling for Monday footy to be a regular fixture. What are your thoughts on Monday footy?
What, Monday night.
Monday
night. It's a tough one. I mean, I think watching it on TV is good, but I think going to it would be tough for a lot of people. I mean, it just shows Thursday night at the moment is Thursday night's great for your TV audience, but are people actually going to go to the footy? I mean, it's been a big topic on our podcast lately. Man, there was only 21,000 at the Richmond game on last Thursday night.
It has.
Is it an issue having Thursday night games on?
I don't know. A lot of people I speak to love Thursday night footy, whether that's because they love just to watch it on TV on the Thursday night.
Yeah, watching it at home is good because, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a neutral, you love watching it at home.
It's something on the telly.
Yeah, but like, is it a worthwhile? I think the AFL are definitely going to be looking at it and being like, well, geez, is this the right move, putting Thursday night games on when a team like Richmond size are only getting 21,000 to the games?
Yeah, it was a poor turnout. I'm not sure of the reason. There's all the excuses in the world with weather and just Thursday night. Obviously, some people have footy training, other people have work, school, whatever. And that's could be a reason. But with a big club like Richmond, you would expect more numbers out there. A lot of people are quick to point that out after I criticised Melbourne during the week for lack of crowd numbers. But I think Richmond are still the highest attended home game club.
Yep.
In the comp, so I'll stand by. Yeah, I got it out eventually. I'll stand by that. Richmond is still getting numbers down to their home games, just a one-off.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. Melbourne, they had a good crowd today, but I think it was mostly Collingwood supporters by the looks of the crowd and the TV.
Yeah, exactly. Well, while we're on the topic of the Tigers, shall we get? Actually, do you want to get a Port Adelaide guest on?
We will.
We did play the Port. We'll start with Port because you did beat Port on the weekend.
We did beat Port on
in front of that interesting crowd.
There was a poor crowd.
Yeah, and then we can talk. We've just spoken. Well, actually, let's have a break from the Tigers for a bit. All right.
Oh, he's up.
Well, you got to go at me for talking too much Carlton, so we'll ease off on the Tigers for about 10 minutes. All right.
All right. Sounds good. Let's move on.
Beautiful. All right. So our next guest is the man from the pair. His name's Anthony. He runs Port Adelaide's big fan channel over in South Australia. Anthony, how are you, mate?
Hello, guys. Good to be on. Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. No worries at all. Thanks for coming on, mates. I know when we tried organising this, we didn't realise South Australia, well, we should have thought about it, that you're half an hour behind. So apologies for the confusion, but we've got you now, mates. And, yeah, how's your day been?
It's been good, mate. Just watching the footy and recovering from what's been a pretty interesting weekend overall. But, yeah, it's been good, and what a ripper game today.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking about that. It was a great finish, and talking about the Pies on the rise and the D's potentially falling. So interesting time. It's going to be a big week news-wise for those two teams. But we're also just chatting about the Tigers and Port on Thursday night, and in front of the 21,000 crowd, which we will get to. I've said that probably enough now.
Yeah, calm down. We all get it.
But now run us through your thoughts on the Power. Obviously, it's been a very up and down season. You started off pretty poorly, and you sort of fought your way back. Run us through your thoughts on it, considering the seasons that you've previously had.
Well, as we know, the 0-5 start wasn't pretty at all, and I think overall we were playing the sort of footy that I think was well below par of anything we've brought in the last couple of years, and that's probably due to a bit of complacency and just everything expecting to happen, I guess. And then once we got that win against West Coast, I think the flick of the switch sort of happened, and got a bit of momentum. We got some key wins against St Kilda and the Dogs, which put us in good stead. But as you can see, I think a few teams have made a lot of improvements ahead of us, and we've sort of been in that stagnant position for the last couple of, especially the last couple of weeks. And started playing 2020 and 2021 footy when every team's playing 2022 footy. So I think that's just been us at the moment, and injuries to key players throughout the year hasn't been great. But it is what it is. And 5 and 7 now, 3 games out of the 8 doesn't look too good. But as what Ken Hinkley keeps saying, you just continue the process, and we hope to do something at the back end of this year.
I think with the list you guys have and the ability that's on the park, it's definitely still, you've got plenty of time to turn it around. We've still got nearly half a season of footy left, and we've seen what Port can do at their very best, and it is scary, especially with a few, home games coming up. If you get a few wins there, it's going to be scary. But I want to talk quickly a little bit about your thoughts on the Thursday night game. I thought it wasn't really an enjoyable game. I didn't think from both sides. It was a bit of an interesting one. It was a bit scrappy. It was a little bit sloppy, I thought, but sort of ebbs and flows. What were your thoughts on the game as a whole?
I thought it was very finals-like. Just the way everything was, the pressure of the game. Once we got into the game, I felt like the standard was there, and it almost reminded me of the Dogs game we played last year at Marvel, where we were peppering inside 50 but weren't doing anything with it. And in the end, we were I think 26 points down at one stage in that second quarter, worked our way back, ended up in front. And I thought from then we might actually kick away, but Richmond's resilience is obviously a key part of their game. And a few decisions as well kind of went against us, I thought, in certain stages. But, when you have the mindset of we're just going to bomb it in long from a kick in, and you got Nankervis, Tarrant, Grimes, and a few others around compared to Rosie and our smalls, you're not going to do a lot with it. So I think the game was okay. It was definitely scrappy and not one I definitely want to go back and watch. But, yeah, I think it just showed that Richmond are there and Port Adelaide are where we are, 12th.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was thinking, like, what do you think? You mentioned injuries before to some of your key players, but what do you think it's really come down to? You drop in form this season compared to last couple where you've been either finished on top or you've been very close to it. So what do you think's been a big reason behind that?
I think the stagnant placement we've had for I think it's 10 years overall. We've had a similar game style. We've adjusted to the rule changes, and I think we've been one of the better teams to adjust to any rule change that's come in. We've had a flexibility to our game plan like that. It's just been that going inside 50 that's always been troubling us. It's what gave us a missed opportunity in 2020. Our mindset in 2021 cost us, and I think it's been a combination of both a stagnant game plan and our mindset's just been a bit shot from last year. So I don't think it's just the injuries. I think we were just waiting for it to happen. And, they say a year is a long time in footy. It definitely is at Port Adelaide, because the way we transition into every year, you just don't know what's going to happen. And I'm actually not surprised this year has turned out the way it has. It's just, it's kind of a waste for us. And that's the painful part. And that's the toughest pill to swallow is we've got all this talent on the list. We've got all the key pillars. Boak is still playing great footy. I think Robbie Gray's still got a fair bit left in him. Charlie Dixon's just come back. Alir. These players are all Australian players from years gone by, but no one else is clicking with it. So I think we've shown depth in our list, but I think at that depth that we have is exposed. So that's been us, I think, at the moment.
No, absolutely. I think you're probably pretty on the money with that one. I mean, you obviously followed a bit closer than we all do with Port Adelaide, but yeah, I think, like you said, you got those all-Australian guys, and then probably what's behind them might not be clicking as well as it should be. But one thing I wanted to ask you about is we all talk about the MCG being, the home of football. It's where the grand finals are played, obviously. But Adelaide Oval, I mean, I've never been there myself, but it just seems like an absolute fortress. And for Port Adelaide home ground, I'm scared sitting on my couch in Melbourne watching the Port fans. What's it like being there in person when Port are up and about?
It's definitely a riot when you go to the game. It's one of those things where when you're a neutral and you go watch a Port game against even the Essendon game, it was pouring with rain and 25,000 still rocked up in those conditions. Was very impressive. The thing with our crowd, and I can't comment on the Crows crowd because it's definitely a different culture and definitely a different environment. But with us, we're always invested. You'll have 25, 30,000. Doesn't have to be a full capacity crowd, but that 30,000 or 25,000 will make a louder noise than 50, 60 at the G. And that's one, how Adelaide Oval was built, but also just the investment our fans have. And we'll tell you if you're playing shit, we'll tell you if you're playing a great game of footy. And look, if you're going to put it on the bucket list, come to Adelaide Oval, do the roof climb in the day, and then come to a Saturday night game and watch Port probably choke something against another team. But definitely I'd suggest coming over for a game. I think Richmond do play there later in the year, so might have to venture over and come watch another good game of footy, because our rivalry's been insane over the last couple of years. So that's probably one you'd want to put on your bucket list.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely is on there. It's been there for a little while now. Just got to actually make the effort to go do it. But yeah, if we play later in the year, I think I might have to head down because it's incredible. And especially the song before the game, you'll get the scarves in the air, you never tear us apart. It's pretty insane. So can't wait.
And the never tear us apart thing is the one thing a lot of fans that aren't invested in Port Adelaide or have nothing to do with Port Adelaide, there's an outside comment on, it's cliche and it's a bit cringe. Once you're there and once you're experiencing those people singing and belting it out, it'll change your mind. You know, people can have opinions of those things, but atmosphere is the most integral part of our game. And when you're singing that song at full lungs, ready for a big game of footy, there's nothing better.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I've been told many times Adelaide Oval is one of the best, if not the best place to watch footy, atmosphere-wise. So definitely on the bucket list. I got close to it last year.
You were around town?
I was outside it. I was scooting around around New Year's time there, but didn't go inside it. But yeah, apparently it's great to watch. So we'll have to make a podcast trip over there maybe.
I reckon business trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, all right, mate, let's do a bit of a mid-season review so far. What's been your game of the year for the Port?
Game of the year. Oh, the Dogs game, the Friday night game. I think that was our most collective game of footy, 4 quarters, and it was the rise of Todd Marshall.
Yep,
absolutely it was. And who do you reckon's been your best player so far?
There's been a few. It hasn't been as standout as some might seem. I honestly, you throw your name of Ryan Burton in there, Dan Houston, Todd Marshall's come good. Ollie Wines has found a bit of nick of late. Sam Powell-Pepper's been our best, though. He could have 10, 15 touches in a game, kick a goal, but they'll be the most influential touches. His efforts are insane. And we saw on Thursday night, he did get done for unfortunate holding the ball, but he made 6 efforts in that play beforehand to try and salvage something. So I think he's been our best.
Yeah, love it. Where they're finishing up, what's your prediction? Can you make the finals? Can you sneak in?
My heart is like, yes, I still believe. I'm not one to throw in the towel, but round 13, you're sitting 5 and 7 and 3 games out and a bit of percentage. I'm going to say we'll finish 10th.
Yeah, okay. No, that's a calm response. I was expecting potentially a sneak in there. I know other supporters definitely would have said otherwise, but I like it. Nice and measured. Lower the expectations.
Hey, if we make it, I'm telling you, full party at mine. Just saying. But we'll keep it measured. Yeah, then you can come over.
Beautiful. Good timing.
Done. All right, mate. Just before we let you go, we'll do the pressure cooker. So a couple of quick fire questions, and then you can get on with the rest of your night. If you had to list one player in your team, who would it be?
Stephen Motlop.
That was quick. I like that. It was quick. If you could add one player from another list, who would it be?
There's a few, but I'm gonna send me Charlie Curnow.
Oh,
yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one.
Send me Charlie.
Yeah. Would you wear your team colours to a neutral game?
Absolutely, I would. I've done it before.
Yeah,
hey,
we love that.
You're not a nuffy when you do it. You're not a nuffy. I'm telling you, you're just passionate and proud.
You sure, right?
Yeah, we love that. No, we love that. And then another one, similar token, footy jumpers to games, yes or no? It's a bit of controversy around it at the moment.
I do it. So, yeah.
Yeah. We love that.
There's no age limit on it. Come on.
That's what I'm hearing. Some people are saying adults can't do it, and I'm hearing it I'm seeing other 50-year-olds walk around in them. So I want to know what the consensus is.
No, well, you don't rock up with a suit, do you? So anything else goes.
That is true.
That's a good point. All right, and last one. Which team do you love beating the most?
Well, they're kind of shit at the moment, but they still keep beating us. So I'm going to say Adelaide. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoy the build-up into the showdown and beating them. But if it wasn't the showdown, I do enjoy beating Collingwood.
Yeah. That's a standard response. That one is, yeah.
Speaking of Collingwood, just quickly, what are your thoughts on the whole the prison bar jersey that Collingwood have made a big fuss about? We've pretty openly said here we reckon Port should be allowed to wear it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we definitely should be able to wear it, at least in a showdown, home showdown. Once a year, it's not going to hurt. I jokingly sent out a tweet today. The prison bars look pretty good beating Melbourne, so did get a lot of bites on that one. But look, if other teams can celebrate their heritage, I think we should be able to do it once a year. And I'll go one step further. I think Heritage Round should be a staple like they used to back in the 2000s, because everyone's old Heritage Guernsey looks insanely good these days. So everyone should be able to do it.
Yeah, I thoroughly agree with that. I love some of our old jerseys as well, and I want to bring them all back, I reckon.
So those Heritage Rounds back in the early 2000s were unbelievable. It was so good. Loved them.
Yeah.
Just to see
They
the
were.
different
Yeah.
generations as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was sick.
Exactly. All right, mate. Well, that's all. Really appreciate you coming on, and and for those out there, make sure you follow the pair on Instagram, YouTube. Where else are you on, mate? You're on all socials.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. My face is everywhere. Anything to do with Port Adelaide, you'll see it. So jump around, get on it, and enjoy the stuff I've got to say, which is not a lot, but it's enough.
That's what we love, mate. We love to hear that.
Love it, mate. But thanks again for coming on, and have a good night and good luck for Port for the rest of the year.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers.
See you, mate.
That was good.
Yeah, that's our first Port Adelaide fan.
It was, actually. I was just thinking that, we don't get enough of them on. I mean, it's hard being in Victoria, but saying that, my housemate goes to Port. So
we've got one. We've got one downstairs, and you're talking about struggling to find one.
Yeah.
But actually, I want to tell a quick little story about Thursday night. I probably should have brought up while we had him on, but Thursday night was interesting for me. I got tickets to a box this week. I got offered tickets. I thought, you beauty, here we go. I'm going to the box. Telling this story. Why not? It's fun. Got tickets to the box. I'm thinking, you beauty, get to watch the game in style. It's cold. We've got the heater on. You don't do it every week, so you lap it up. You make the most of it. Halftime comes around. I'm thinking, it's not sitting right in my guts. I'm thinking something's not feeling too good. Walk to the toilet. Anyway, next thing I know, I'm in the box. I've had a red Gatorade before. Red Gatorade is coming up everywhere. It's going all over the place. I'm thinking, oh God, I'm not in good shape here. So I go home. We're in a box next to Koshi, by the way. So Koshi, I'm looking across while I'm feeling sick, looking at the next box, and Koshi's probably 2 meters sitting from me. I'm thinking, oh God, I'm embarrassing myself here. Had to leave the G early. Had gastro, it turns out, which was a real shame. I missed the end of the game, absolutely spewing, box seats and all, and I've had to walk out, throwing up a few times within the MCG. So if you saw me throwing up at the G on Thursday night, I do apologise, but it's
gastro at the footy. That's a nightmare.
Yeah, it was grim.
Wow.
It was grim. I tell you what, I was glad he was in the box and not in the regular seats because that would have been interesting.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a bit of a shame to miss out on that opportunity, but hopefully another one rolls around.
Yeah. Well, do you reckon our next guest would have seen this happening?
Every chance. I hope not before we get him on. But
yeah. All right. Well, let's get him on now. We've got the Richmond Journey here.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. How are you guys?
Oh, absolutely flying. It's good to have another Tigers man on board for the episode. I've been building up all episode now. I just wanted to get you on. I've seen you waiting there for us, so appreciate you hanging around and
that's all right, mate. I'm just studying in the background, but yeah, g'day, Marcus.
Hey, Chris. Nice to meet you, mate. Yeah, Quinn tells me all about the Richmond Journey. Obviously, one of the bigger band channels, isn't it? I'd say Richmond-wise, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you want to talk about Richmond, it's the place to go. That's for sure.
Oh, mate. Honestly, the dynasty's probably played a massive part in that, but obviously this page has been around for 100 episodes now. So you've been through 2 dynasties, obviously Richmond and Carlton round 1 to 3. So
yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we love that. It's been something special. Yeah, no, we're keeping him. It's been something special. Having the Richmond dynasty has been a good time for us to do this as well. I've been able to sort of celebrate the wins and all that on here, but obviously as well, a lot of one thing I wanted to ask about the Richmond journey is how do you handle a lot of the there's a lot of nuffies on Richmond fan channel, all fan channels and pages, I should say, and there's a fair few that roll through the Richmond journey, and I see that you got to moderate them quite well. How do you do it, mate? Because it's a lot of work.
Honestly, I probably don't do it much anymore. Like when I first started, I just started the page while I was doing my Bachelor of Marketing and just thought I'd play around with social media and management and just like get some ideas about brand management through, managing social media pages, and probably spent way too much time back in the day. But these days I don't really spend too much time. Like, I'll post something, just some thoughts up and just sort of leave it. And I've got a couple of other people now who sort of manage my group, and I'm finishing my master's this year, so I'm pretty under the pump, and I do both studying a master's and working full time, so both full time, so pretty limited with time. But I mean, at the start when you're building a page, that's probably when you're going to attract the most people who are coming and trolling or whatever. And I probably blocked most of them early on who were like really disrespectful, and the other ones I just leave there. They're just harmless. They're all just there for a laugh and trolling each other. So just let the community thrive. I
love it. I think it's big with the fan channels. I mean, you mentioned the troll. Like, how do you filter all that out? Obviously, you're probably getting a lot of fans from other teams just chirping up, which is what I said in a lot of the Carlton stuff as well. It's like other fans like to get involved. Like, how do you sort of monitor that? Are you like reading every single comment, or like how are you?
No way. Like, there's no way I could do it. Like, if I post anything now these days, probably most posts get about 500 comments. Like that'd be a full-time job.
Yeah.
Most people these days, like, I just won't even look at the comments most of the time, or I'll just jump in when I'm taking a shit or something. Like, to be honest, but like, if someone's really disrespectful, most people will just inbox my page and say, like, this dude's like being really disrespectful, and I'll just jump on and see what's going on. But to be honest, I'm probably going to give it away in the next few weeks, just to some young journalist or something who follows Richmond, and just to give them a platform to really realize their dream, and hopefully that can be the start of something for them. And someone like you guys just give them a platform, and hopefully something comes out of it for them.
That's a really great thing you're doing there, because like you said, you do have a lot of followers, you get a lot of traction. So something like that for someone up and coming would be huge. That's a very generous thing you're doing there. But let's get a little bit more into the Tigers. We'll dive into the season so far. It's been an interesting one. We started off pretty shaky. Then obviously we had those 4 wins in a row, looked pretty good again. And then the disappointing loss of the Swans. What are your thoughts on the season so far? How do you reckon we've been looking?
It's hard to say. Sometimes I feel like Richmond just don't have a plan B. And there's other times where I think maybe we do have a plan B, but we just like to back our players in too much. Like, as an example, I said we should have switched Bolter and Gibcus a lot earlier. But, obviously we really want to back Gibcus and give him the learnings early so that he can really develop as a player. But, when the game's on the line, especially, where we're sitting on the ladder, you're probably going to make those changes earlier. So I suppose it's probably our own, belief in our players that really hurt us and serve us well in the long term at the same time. So it's a bit tough. And then I feel like our development in VFL has really suffered since losing Craig McRae and probably Leper as well. So we're probably just really trying to find our feet, really.
Yeah, I think so. It does look like that at times, especially. But speaking of Josh Gibcus, how has he not had a Rising Star nomination yet? He's played some seriously good footy, and when we have moved him up forward, albeit it's probably been a little bit too late in certain stages of the game, but he's kicked a goal and he's gone up there and he's looked pretty confident. How good's he been?
I don't think I'm probably a bit biased, but I don't think I've seen a better debut season by a key defender since this inclusion of the AFL. Like, Wiedering's a gun, but his first season wasn't that good, and he didn't really have that much support, to be fair. But who's been a better key position defender than Josh Gibcus? I don't think. Maybe the Konings. He's pretty close.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good start to the year, I must admit. But I mean, yeah, look, I'm probably biased as well, but he's just been so consistent. He hasn't really lost many one-on-ones. I think on the weekend, Todd Marshall maybe gave him a bit of a touch-up, but he's 18. That's going to happen. I think other than that, he hasn't really lost that many one-on-ones. Even against Buddy, he held his own. I mean, he kicked a few goals, but some are free kicks, a couple against Grimes as well. So I'm loving what he's doing at the moment. And from a mutual standpoint, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's biased at all. I think he's been sensational, really. I mean, that Anzac Eve game that we went to, definitely stood out there. Just his composure and his hands as well, for someone that's 18, 19 years old is pretty incredible. And he's going up against especially that Melbourne game as well, some premiership players. He's really holding his own. And I mean, it's probably you try to think about a first year defender since the AFL started. It is honestly hard to say. Like, Wiedering obviously is one of the standouts there, but you say his first season probably not as good as Gibcus. So I don't reckon that's as biased as what you think it is.
Now, favourite there, Lockie's just chimed in as well. Gibcus already looks like a player that's 3 seasons in, and I do agree. He looks pretty confident. He just, once he puts a bit more muscle on, a little bit more size, not too much. I don't want him to lose his athleticism, but a little bit more, it'll be very, very good, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, mate. Let's do some mid-year review questions for you. What's been your game of the year so far?
Probably have to be the game against West Coast was good for us to enjoy, but as a neutral game, I reckon it would have been the game that was just on, Melbourne Collingwood. That was unreal.
Good game, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was unreal. Collingwood have played a few in a row now, really close games, but I think that one probably just took the cake as well. And if you're a Collingwood fan, you would have loved that, finishing it off. So I like that one. Who would you say has been your best player so far?
Probably Baker or Jaden Short.
Yeah,
I know
love
you
that.
love Baker and Jaden.
I do love
You
Jaden Short.
love
Yeah,
them both.
I cop a lot from Marcus because every week we do our pressure point voting, and Shorty always finds his way to get in there. But I said to him, you look at
It's always a one vote. It's always a sneaky vote.
The meters gained. He always has 30 plus disposals. Is a gun, and then Baker just throws his body on the line every week. I mean, he single-handedly wins his games at times, and I mean, we did on the weekend against Port, and then the week before against Sydney, we lost obviously, but the amount of times he smothered the footy and just got to those little 1%ers that other players don't make the effort for. Yeah, I love Baker.
I'd almost make both of them captain and vice captain next year or the year after, whenever Grimes and Nankervis happy to hand it over. They're obviously Richmond men. You know, they've got a long career ahead of them with us if they choose to stay. You know, they represent what our team's about.
Oh, 100%. And you got a best and fairest winner in there as well in Shorty. So I don't see any reason why not.
Who would you have, Baker as captain or Short as captain?
Co-captain.
No, you probably have Shorty. He's a bit older.
Yeah, I was going to say Baker is pretty young.
Yeah, and I feel like Shorty's probably a little bit less of a bogan as well, so might suit the media a little bit more. But I do love what Bakes brings as well. Have you seen him in his interviews? He's a funny character.
Yeah, he is. He's always just full of energy, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Up and about. So I love it. Season prediction, mate. Where the Tigers going to finish come season's end?
Yeah, probably depends on injuries, really. Like if we can keep Lynch and Rewald on the park and, relatively, everyone down back on the park, I reckon we can finish between, say, 8 to 6. But if we cop an injury down back or up forward, we look pretty vulnerable. And, obviously we struggled a lot without Lynch up forward. But, down the back, like we're relying on Tarrant down back, who's, if any, we're going to get murdered this week, I reckon. If he plays on Mackay or Kerno, we're in serious trouble.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the athleticism or the speed to keep up with either of those two. I mean, Bolter, you'd imagine, would go back into the back line now with Lynch back, but yeah, it's that interesting one on who Tarrant goes to, isn't it?
In round one, Mackay and Kerno were barely sighted, so
it is true. Kerno, though, like relatively fresh into playing footy again.
Yeah, that's true. That was his only bad game for the season.
Well, there you go. And then Mackay, as good as been an off game for him, or maybe we did shut him down. I don't know what it was really, but
it didn't work though, did
it? Bastard. Well, actually, that's a good little segue. I don't know if you heard just before when we were speaking to Terry, we asked him, we need an idea for a bet between the two of us for whoever wins this week. We need a punishment for the other. Terry suggested that one of us donates a 3-game membership to a member of the other club that listens to our channel. Any thoughts on what we should do to each other if whichever team wins or loses?
I reckon next year, round one, the loser has to get the opposition's team face painted on their face.
Oh,
jeez, that would be.
I don't mind that. I don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it. No, let's do it.
And if just say Richmond win, I have to face paint it on you.
Okay.
And vice versa.
All right.
So that way there could be a really shonky job.
And it's just a yellow and black.
I might do a little logo on it.
Where you have to do a Carlton logo.
I might do a little logo on there somewhere.
Okay.
Eat them alive on the side. We'll think. I don't mind that one. That's fun. I don't mind that. The paint. That's beautiful.
I love it. All right, mate. Let's do the pressure cooker before we let you go. If you had to delist one player on your team, who would it be?
I feel bad, but it'd probably be Will Martin, only because Riley Collier-Dawkins has got some sort of trade value. I feel like Riley's been a real letdown, to be honest, considering he was, supposed to be the next Patrick Cripps. So he's the unlucky one for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I used the big-bodied midfielder a bit like Cripps. So
it was a high draft pick too, wasn't it?
He was relatively so. Yeah, I agree with that one. If you could add another player from another list, who would it be?
It has to be Mackay.
Mackay and Kerno, that's two of them getting picked tonight.
It is.
Well, I'd take either of them, to be honest.
Yeah, you would.
They are pretty good. Yeah. Would you wear your team colours to a neutral game?
Oh, I would, but I wouldn't do it though. But I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that answer. Yeah, that's a good one. Footy jumpers to games, yes or no? Been a bit of controversial topic lately.
Footy jumpers to games.
Yeah, I know some people say the Guernseys like these ones. I know some people say you shouldn't wear them after when you're an adult, and other people say why wouldn't you wear them? So it's a bit of a pineapple pizza topic. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely. Yeah.
I think it's I reckon we're 50-50 on that.
It's a pineapple on pizza topic. I said it before. Honestly, some people reckon you should. I don't know why you shouldn't, but anyway, I'm for it.
Yeah. No, I don't mind it. All right, and last one. Which team do you love beating the most?
Has to be the Pies.
Yeah. The Pies is good.
That's Pies are dominating that question tonight, aren't they?
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, always the Pie. I think Carlton were always pretty high up there. The Bombers are probably my number one personally. But I think after 2018, every time we beat Collingwood now, it means a little bit more than what it used to pre-2018. So for obvious reasons, which just slipped off my chair there, but for obvious reasons. So yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, well, I'm sure after this week, Carlton, well, Thursday night, definitely. I know how much you guys hate us when those games roll around, so and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good. But no, thanks for coming on, Chris. Really appreciate it, mates. And all the best for the Tigers this season. Not so much next week, but we're going to be at the game, so we might have to bump into you down the track.
Catch you boys for a beer.
Yeah,
100%, especially if the Tigers win.
Done deal.
Gonna get one back on you.
Yeah. Cool.
All good, mate.
Right,
Thank you for jumping on. Keep
No
on
worries.
with all the stuff you're doing. You're doing some great stuff with the journey over there. So hopefully continues, and whoever takes over in the next week or so can, continue your legacy and keep doing some good things.
Done deal, mate. Thanks, boys.
Awesome.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. See you,
Cheers,
mate. There you go. Got a bit of Tigers.
You got it. Yeah,
I got it out.
You got your fix.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love talking about Josh Gibb because he's my boy at the moment. I'm loving what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I got to talk about him. It's feeling good. We're flying through this episode,
Yeah,
mate.
it's been good, mate. We've been live for an hour now, so it's gone very quick. And loving the comments coming through. Very, very funny. Very humorous from some of them, which is good. But
Our number one, Essendon Nuffy's dropped off a little bit now. The Carlton talks pipe down.
Yeah, that's fair enough. They always live through other teams' humour. They don't have their own things to talk about, so that's fine. All good. What's your mate said? Come to training, Mark. Yeah, good old Dom. Hey,
Come to training, Marcus. See, there's a few people wanting you to come play footy. There he is. Well, thanks, Doma. Have to get you to jump on, mate. Have a chat and tell Marcus face to face.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, in saying that, we do have a link there. So if any of you guys want to come on and talk some dribble about your team, feel free to just check the comments and chuck that link on your browser.
There you go. Dom's popped up again. Go Tigers. P.S. Marcus, come to training. We saw you the first time. Thank you very much, Dom. We need players, mate.
Appreciate it, Tom. Oh, he's twisting my arm now.
We'll see you Tuesday, or not Thursday. We'll see you Tuesday this week of training. But we spoke about it earlier. Melbourne Collingwood, MCG, Queen's birthday. Obviously, wasn't game of the season, arguably. It wasn't probably the game the D's fans were looking for. 3 losses in a row now. Probably uncharted territory for them over the last couple of seasons now. So interesting times. But I think our next guest is, big fan of ours. Well, we're a big fan of him, we should say. Good friend of ours as well. Love catching up with him every time. And we'll bring him in now.
Yep.
Timmy from Attention to Detail. There he is,
There
Tim.
he is.
Thank you for
Hey,
jumping
boys.
on. Mate.
Nah, all good. All good. How are we doing?
Oh, very good.
Going well. How are
Very
you?
good.
More important.
Yeah. Nah, doing all right. Oh, first of all, just congratulations on the 100 episodes, guys. It's a massive achievement. Should be very proud. And what an awesome way to bring it up as well too, with the live stream and stuff. I've been tuning in, and great to have a listen to as well too.
No, thanks, mate. Appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, you've been a part of the journey as well. I think we've had you on a couple of times. So when we were pretty fresh, and you guys were pretty fresh as well, we jumped on for, was it a collab? Wasn't it? That was
It was a
Yeah.
collab. Yeah.
Yeah.
We finally got to meet the other week for a beer. We
That's
finally got to
right.
get together, which has
That
been a
is.
long time coming. Obviously, COVID hasn't helped that, but it was good to finally catch up with you and Simo over there. So talk us through what your thoughts on the D's this so far have been. I mean, obviously, undefeated up until a few weeks ago, and obviously a couple of losses now, but I mean, I'm guessing you're not looking into it too much.
Nah, I think I think today was probably the nail that probably some of us thought was going to happen. Unfortunately, I think just with the week that we've just had, it's probably something that we haven't really experienced, even in our shittier times where we weren't doing so well on the field. I think just with everything that media sort of blew up again this past week gone by, it's I feel like that the pressure's getting to some supporters. It's interesting to see some of the blow up and the overreactions from some like supporters on the socials and everything. But I think what's going wrong with the side, like I think just these last 3 games, it's all really clear. I think the problem's really clear, and I think the club would know about that. Supporters can clearly see it, but just like the inability to be able to kick a score in these last 3 weeks, and have any sort of benefits going forward, like our mid-forward connections just being atrocious, and we haven't been able to, really get our forwards into a spot where they're going to be advantageous to have a shot on goal and creating those opportunities. Like we've seen, like we've been able to start games really well, and then it's just that falling away either after the first quarter or the first half. That's really sort of let us down. Like it's the clear examples in the last 3 games with Collingwood, Swans and Freo. Mind you, all very good sides. And I think that's something that we all have to sort of remember as well too, that we've played, Swans and Freo in probably 2 top 4 to 5 sides in the league. And then Collingwood are just on an absolute roll at the moment. And it's an interesting feeling. I've got my Premier's badge on here just to remind me and other supporters out there that we are still the Premiers. And I think the bye will just be a nice little reset button for us. I think we've got a lot of boys that are banged up. Max looked like he was on one leg out there. Petty and our backline been a little bit decimated. And then obviously the big hole that May leaves as well too has probably really been exposed the last 3 weeks as well.
Yeah, I mean, if a team ever needed a bye, I think it's the Melbourne Football Club, especially with what's going on, externally as well with, the violence and everything that went on last week, as everyone knows about. Like, I think the whole club just needs a bit of a breather for a week and just a reset, because you'd be a brave person to be writing off Melbourne at this stage, that's for sure. You went 10-0, and no one just goes 10-0 without being half decent. So, the teams you've lost to as well, they're some pretty decent teams as well. So I think the bye's come at a very good time. But you mentioned the forward line as well, and not really functioning properly. Do you think you're winning? Because a lot of Melbourne supporters I've spoken to have seen that as an issue already. And do you think the winning that you had at the start of the season will sort of paper over the cracks, and now it's really starting to be found out?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's a combination of potentially that, but also I think teams just sort of figuring us out and probably not getting a lot of that slingshot footy from the defensive half. Like, we look extremely dangerous when we can kind of get on that fast break and those chains start from the half back line, and we can really find some space and run into an open forward line. And that's where, we were able to find, that's where Fritsch bobs up and kicks his sort of 2 or 3 a week. We've been able to get one-on-ones with Ben Brown running out, or probably, arguably, and I think it's probably slid under the radar a bit, is Tom McDonald going down, because he was having a fantastic month of footy before he came down, and contested marks, and our work in the air has been absolutely atrocious in the last 3 weeks. That's where teams have clearly beaten us by. Like, you had, I think contested marks in the 3rd quarter today. Like, I think Collingwood were 10-1 or something like that. So just the big forwards up front, and I'm sort of talking about the backs, but I think we just seem to be exposed there. But the forward line, I'm not quite sure. We just keep sitting it on our forwards' heads, and Goody seems to be thinking that's still the right thing. Like, you're bringing Wiedemann in, bringing him out. Mitch Brown gets the run the last couple of weeks, given T-Mac's injury, because he's playing better footy, but they still haven't seemed to have changed their approach going inside 50, and I think we wound up at about 30% efficiency going inside 50 today. 17 scores from 50 odd entries. So it's certainly something that I have to go away and look at. And when I was saying that it was really clear about what's wrong, that's really clear. I think that's where the missing piece is, because even though our defense has probably been a little bit shaky with some key personnel missing, if we can't kick a score, like we've been struggling to kick 8-9 goals the last 3 weeks, it's that's going to be really difficult heading into the back end of the season and into finals as well.
It's really interesting saying that, isn't it? Because Melbourne have so famously, towards the back end of last year and even early this year, were able to put scores on so quickly and a high amounts of kicking 7 goals, 8 goals in a quarter, let alone struggling to do that for an entire game. So obviously interesting, and I do like the fact that you said it's an easy, well, not an easy fix, but it's you're easily able to pick out what the problem actually is. And I guess solving that then should just be a matter of tweaking a few little things, you'd imagine. Obviously, some of your forwards you'd have down there are very dangerous when they're on. It's just about, I think, hitting them up. Like you said, 37% efficiency going forward. You're not going to win too many games doing that, are you?
No, I didn't realize that was the stat for today. That's pretty concerning. Given, your midfield dominance is definitely there. Clayton Oliver had 42 touches today, I think, or
won the medal for the day as well.
Jeez, did you see his speech? Wasn't stoked about it.
Saying, nor was the crowd. I could hear when we were just running in here to start recording as it ended, so I missed it. But you said the crowd wasn't too happy at all.
Yeah, no, the Collingwood fans were booing for sure.
I mean, the guy had 42 disposals. He went pretty well today, I reckon. I looked at the rest of his stats as well. They weren't nothing touches.
No, exactly right. Clayton Hall is a star, but I find it a bit ironic that Collingwood supporters were booing that. Remember Anzac Day when Essendon fans were booing Pendlebury for winning the award?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. The irony there is, but that's Collingwood supporters for you, I guess.
Yeah.
Heading into the break, what do you want to see second half of the season anyway? I know you're the hunted now. I think that's what's making it challenging for you.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that forward half connection. I think really making sure that the ball's in our best users' hands going inside, and that's Spargo, that's Alex Neil-Bull, and that's Christian Petrarca. Those balls need to be low and looking, at short, sharp targets and making sure you're kicking into space. And there's a great example last week of Mitch Brown hitting up Bailey Fritsch, like it was from about 55, but it was just the perfect kick to space. And I understand that, when the game slows down, it is harder to find those advantages at times, but they really, they need to do a body work around that, because at times let's say last year, you're right, the small forwards can sort of create a bit of chaos, but our forward pressure hasn't been what it's renowned for probably in the last month. Just in regards to being able to trap the ball inside. I think some teams have been able to pick us apart, getting outside our zone pretty easily, and I think if our forward pressure's up, then that kind of chaotic footy can work off. You got Cozzy, you got Spargo down the front there. Viney's been hitting the scoreboard as well, and you got Track and Oliver who can also get on the scoreboard. I think that's the biggest thing. I think also just getting a couple of boys healthy. Gawn definitely needs a week off. He probably should have had it against West Coast. And having May back's going to be big. Jake Lever's probably somebody that's been pretty underwhelming the last few weeks as well too. And I don't know about you guys, but every time he seems to go up for a mark, I can't remember the last time he's taken an intercept mark. Like, honestly, it spills every time, and it's a liability, and it causes headaches for down back. Like, thank goodness for Angus Brayshaw, who's remained down back even with Salem coming back in, and even today he was amazing. In a losing side, he had some fantastic efforts down back there. So I think the biggest thing is figuring out how to get that ball through the big sticks and making sure that cohesion between our mids and our forwards is really on point, because coming straight out of the bye into Brisbane, even if it's at the G, is going to be a real telling point, I think, for where the club's at, even these last 3 weeks. But to come out there, that's going to be a real test.
Geez, Brisbane after the bye. Didn't realise that. That's going to be on, isn't it?
You're right. The bye did come at the right time.
Yeah.
If you ever guys never need to rest, it's definitely against the Lions. Just quickly, someone reminded me about a talking point we've spoken about a little bit recently, and obviously Richmond was sort of victim of it on Thursday night. But crowd attendance has obviously been a bit talked about with the D's fans lately. Why do you reckon the numbers are so low this year? I mean, obviously it's all around the board. It's not just Melbourne fans, but I think because you guys are the reigning premiers, the spotlight has been on you a bit more. What do you reckon the reason is for low attendance at the moment? Obviously it's a host of things, but
it's a tricky one. I don't know. I think Track's comments on the radio the other day, like as you said, I think it is across the board. I think I saw a stat the other day about, compared to a couple of years ago, that the D's attendance is still up a lot from where it was, like, I think in 2018 and even 20. Well, I understand the success is different for the teams, but it's significantly up from one of the last years that we could actually come to the footy, given that we've missed so much time there. It's a really tough one. I honestly am not sure. I don't know if it's just the crappy weather in the middle of winter, like we're in the middle of a cold snap at the moment, and it sounds like a pretty piss poor excuse. But I don't know. Personally, I feel like it's been a little bit unfairly labelled on just the D's. But like I suppose I was at the Sydney Melbourne game, and that had 30-odd thousand there on Saturday night between essentially 2 top 4 sides, and you would have thought there'd be more there. The Sydney supporters were louder than the Melbourne supporters, it felt like, obviously towards the end of the game when they were making their comeback. It's hard to put a finger on it, Quinn. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Like, they've got 60,000 members now, which is, they're breaking new ground with that. So there's no reasons why they shouldn't be people in there. But I could probably see, sound not skeptical, but like, health reasons and stuff in terms of keeping well and not getting the flu and that stuff. I don't sound like a member sort of thing, but it's it could be for a reasons. I don't think it's any one thing, and I think it'd be interesting to contrast it with the rest of the league in terms of, I reckon we'd be around the ballpark with everybody else.
Yeah, I don't think it's too far off the money. I mean, I made a comment last week on the podcast, and
I did say that.
We put a reel out about it, and then Simo was quick to jump down my throat after Richmond only got 21,000 at the G. I was like, fair enough, touche. So it was, I think it is all around the board. And to be honest with you, I think it does have something to do. I mean, a lot of people at the moment, the flu is back, sort of gastro, all those sort of things. A lot of people catching these things that we've sort of forgotten about because of COVID, and could be a reason, like you said, cold snap. I think it's a host of things, but yeah, you're right. I think inflation, things are expensive.
Yeah,
things are very expensive at the moment. You've seen fuel.
So, yeah, and people just being able to get out there and do stuff now as well too. I think it's the first winter that we've had out in the open for 2 years. So yeah, there's the illness side of things, but I think just people like socializing and stuff as well too. Maybe just not prioritizing. Boys know how it is, like social events and stuff always get booked up so quickly, and before you know it's the end of the season. So I would say that, depending on our form, I'd still think that we'd like to increase it as the season gets on a little bit as well too. It's one of those things, round one pops up, and then you sort of like, oh yeah, I'll get to the next one, and before you know it, it's round 10. Before you know it, it's it's the last round of the season and heading into finals. It goes super quickly, but yeah, I think it'll be something that's probably constant throughout the season, I would say. But I'm sure come finals time, regardless of who's in there, it'll be back pump again. Like, did you boys see? Did they release the stat for yesterday's GWS North game? Did they? Do you know what the crowd was?
13,000.
Oh, so they got double figures. No, neither.
Yeah, there was more at the North GWS game yesterday than the North versus Melbourne game a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. So that's considered.
Yeah,
I think that's also potentially because they were talking all week about how poor this was going to be. So I think fans showed up.
I think they'll give away some free tickets too.
Yeah, so it would have been interesting. But I do have a sneaky suspicion that as the year goes on and gets towards the pointy end, I think the games will start filling up a lot more, especially as Melbourne, you'd imagine would finish reigning premiers again if they can find their form again. So
yeah,
I'd hate to sound like a wanker, but like the games I've gone in, the members of like MCC members has always been pretty full. So it's when you cast your eye out to the rest of the ground and there's bloody no one in there. But there you go. It sounds like a cheese ball. Flag flying wanker.
Mate, you've bought right into the stereotype there. We love that though.
Very good. All right, mate. Well, let's do a quick little mid-year review. Questions. What's been your game of the year so far for the Ds?
Game of the year. Round one, I think, was always going to be a huge statement. I think kind of that unprecedented grand final rematch, getting the Wednesday night there, and just having that not second chance, but I suppose having that chance to face up to Bulldogs a few months after beating them in the grand final. I think to get on top of that, and given how the game played out as well too, was kind of like in similar fashion. Like, Melbourne off to a blistering start in the first quarter, Bulldogs storming all the way back in the second, and then Melbourne not kicking away as we did in the granny, but still being able to get on top there. I think just the way that we started the season, I thought was, I think that was really important to get that one off. Because I think some people were a bit unsure about it. I think, some people want a little bit of momentum leading into a grand final rematch, sitting at somewhere around about, 5 or 6 or something like that, getting a few games under your belt. But for the AFL, just sort of throw it in there and throw it before, your boys on the Thursday night. I think that was a really big deal and important for the club as well too, to be the opening season for the round. So I think that's probably the biggest one. Other than that, St Kilda was probably a big test, I think, for us at that time. I think that was round 7 or so. That was probably, people were saying, hadn't really played anyone yet. And St Kilda have been playing some pretty good footy. So I think that was also an important game for us as well.
No, I love that. There's a few good ones to choose from there. And speaking of a few to choose from, you got a few of them. Who do you reckon's been your best player so far?
It's hard to look past Clary, I think, just in terms of his midfield dominance. Like it took up until what was it, the Freo game for a team to tag him and sort of see what the impact it had on our side. So I think it's hard to be past him. Gawn's been incredible. Just doing absolutely everything he can to stay out there, and the way that he's been able to move up forward and sort of in the last few weeks be our most dangerous kind of tall forward down there, the only one that looks like making a mark. I think he's been also pretty incredible as well. I'm sure I've left some people out, but I think those two might sound pretty stock standard, but I think the evidence is pretty clear.
Yeah, it's hard to go past them, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And Gorney's been incredible. Just year after year, just keeps backing it up. It's great. So
because track started on fire, but he's sort of come down to earth a little bit in these last probably 5-6 rounds. So otherwise, you probably would have said him especially after his first couple of games.
Yep. All right. See, this would be an interesting one. Season prediction. What's happening? Are you winning the flag? Are you off the train? What's your prediction?
Look, we're around the mark. I think at our best, still we can beat anyone. The fact is that our last 4 weeks haven't been our best, I think. And I think going back 12 months ago, we were in a similar position, probably not under the same scrutiny because we weren't coming off the back of a premiership and didn't have all this shit blowing up in the media. But, we had a real lull losing to Adelaide round 10 last year by a point, who, bottom dwellers at that point. And then I think lost 2 out of the next 3, including Queen's birthday last year as well, too. We've got a pretty terrible track record the last few years of that. And then we built a really good back half of the season after the bye. So I'd back us in to go there. I think, it's too early to write us off. And in terms of challenges, I don't see... Brisbane will be really interesting. Geelong, I'm not convinced by, although Jeremy Cameron's looking pretty scary at the moment. But besides that, I'm not really seeing anyone that could really, that's really scaring me right now. We've lost 4 games, but I believe that we weren't at our best then. So I could see us at least making the granny for sure.
Yeah. You're not scared of the Blues by any chance?
Yeah, well, I've probably forgotten. Has it been? When did you guys have the bye? You haven't played in a couple of weeks, have you?
Yeah, we still had the bye last
Friday
week. We played Essendon. That was our first game off the bye.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, definitely. I think, you've certainly been probably one of the most exciting teams to watch, and just in terms of the style of your play. I think Vossi's just kind of unlocked everything, and it's sort of proved that you've had all the pieces there them almost the whole time. Give here and there in the midfield and sort of unlocking a few. But no, certainly I think you guys played probably the most exciting brand of footy, and you've been doing it consistently. So no, I think you're up there. It'd be interesting to see how you stand up in the test of finals, though. I think just with some of that experience as well, to be interesting. But when we don't meet you till round 19, I think it is. So it's
22. I think it's the second last round.
It's same with Geelong. We don't play Geelong till right at the end of the season as well, too. It's funny how people would diss our fixture, saying, "Oh, Melbourne haven't played anyone." It's it's not like we have any bloody control of who we play. We don't dictate it. We don't, we don't decide which teams decide to drop off after last year. So it's it'll be a really tough test in that last few games as well, too. Heading back into the season, back end of the season, we've got sort of the top rung teams heading into there. So I think that'll obviously have a huge impact.
Yeah, for sure. All right, mate. We'll do the pressure cooker, and then we'll let you go. If you had to list one player on your team, who would it be?
Oh, shit. Let's say
Tough with the D's, isn't it?
Yeah.
Answer it before on the show, so it could be someone different.
It could be someone different.
That is true.
I'm gonna say, oh fuck. Oh god, this is Tajway Woden.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Almost a cop out.
Yeah, almost a cop
out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of success, I guess. You don't really know. You want everyone. So we'd love that. If you could add a player from another list, who are you taking? Who's in form right now?
Well, I was listening to Blake from Richmond Journey before, I think it was, in talking about Harry Mackay, and I just think that second big forward, if somebody that can clunk a mark, I think is somebody who we need right at this very second, especially with teammate going down. So I'd love to have him, Mackay, I think.
I tell you what, mate, it's good good having him. So,
Twin Towers. It's great.
yeah.
Hope he does another hand.
When he's healthy. Yeah.
Would you wear team colours to a neutral game?
I'd probably wear a scarf. I don't know if I'd go anything more than that. Yeah, especially given it's winter, I think I could make the case for that. But that's a bit about it.
A scarf's a garment you can wear, I reckon. We'll cop that. Next one is footy jumpers to games, yes or no?
Well, I'm going to go ahead. I have to wear a collared shirt when I go to the game, so I don't personally wear them. I'll wear them around the house, but I don't have a problem with people wearing them. I don't wear them to games personally because of the here we go again, MCC dress code. But no, I don't have a problem with wearing them. That's all right.
Yeah, I love it. It's been an interesting question, that one.
It's
really
it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Like I get stacks of NBA jerseys, and I know people ask the same thing, but like, it's still,
The most interesting one for me with the NBA jersey comparison is how it's acceptable to wear an NBA jersey like out and about, like as a streetwear piece, but to wear your footy jumpers, you just look like a bit of an uffie.
Well,
like
all right,
Richmond jumper, just a Richmond jumper. It's a bit, but if I wear Kobe Bryant jersey, it's a different sort of, you know what I mean? Different story. I don't know. It's a weird one.
What about the footy jumper over the collared shirt? Would you? What do you say? No, I'm not saying I would wear that, but like I've seen it. Yeah. That's an interesting look.
Yeah,
I reckon I'd go there.
I don't know if I would. I'd probably put it over a hoodie. The jumper over a hoodie or something like that, or a sweat. That more for me. If I'm going to wear a shirt, I'm probably trying to look at just a scarf with the shirt. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one.
It is an interesting topic. Yeah.
I've sat a few times in the last year or so, and people will wear the shirts with the jumper on top, and I'm like, maybe just a scarf today, mate. But I don't know. It's an interesting topic.
All right, mate.
Cool. Like it.
Last one. Which team do you love beating the most?
Well, it hasn't happened for a little while, but it has to be Collingwood. Simo messaged me and said that, his girlfriend, Elle, messaged me saying that he'd been into a few fights. I'm guessing verbal altercations with some Collingwood fans. And they are the worst. I still to this day remember in 17 where we had to win round 23 and we had nothing to play for. It was Roosy's last game. And maybe it was 2016, and we lost. Like Collingwood was sitting probably 12th or 13th, and I just remember getting stuck into this. Just sitting next to this bunch of folks, and there's nothing worse. But I got to show you this though. Look what Elle sent me. I don't know if you can see that, but that's Simo wearing a Collingwood scarf after the game, saying "Go the Pies." So interesting word there. But it has to be Collingwood. I don't think there's a couple of other teams that don't like. St Kilda's probably up there, but no, Collingwood by an absolute mile. Yeah, when it happens next.
They've been very popular tonight, that's for sure. Love it, mate. But that's all, mate. And I really appreciate you coming on. And as I said at the start, you've been along the journey with us. You've been a big supporter of ours, and likewise with you, we've followed your work all the way through. So again, thank you, mates. And hope the D's can bring some more success to you this year.
No worries, boys. Always a pleasure, and all the best for the rest of the show. But congrats again, and massive achievement. And looking forward to catching up for the next one for sure.
No worries at all.
Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, take it easy, guys.
Hey, mate.
Cheers.
Here we go.
It's always good chatting to Tim, isn't it?
Oh, mate. Well, there's a reason why
they're great.
There's a reason why we've collabed with them a few times now, and we finally, like I said, got to catch up a few weeks ago at the Richmond D's game, Anzac Day Eve, which is something special. So now I love those boys, and can't wait to catch up with them soon. Well, I was about to say, I was singing to Simo tonight. I was at the game, obviously, and as a passionate D's man, I was feeling for him. But with that photo of the Collingwood scarf, I don't know what's going on there.
Interesting. Must have been a bet or something.
Must have been a bet, or someone's thrown it over him and put wrong photo at the wrong time, sort of thing. But I want to follow that up.
Do you remember when you put an Essendon scarf on me?
Oh, I didn't do that, actually.
There is photo evidence of that.
There is photo with you in an Essendon scarf, but I didn't do it.
You didn't do it? Okay.
I think you did it voluntarily.
Yeah, that was bad. That was real bad.
That was one of your worst ones.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, lads, great to see you've reached 100. Plenty of great content to come. Maybe I'll call up one day. Who knows? Hopefully you don't. But thank you, Matthew, for that lovely comment.
I'm guessing is there a relation?
No, never heard of him. No. But thank you, Matt, for that lovely comment. We do appreciate it. But
good if some of these guys came on actually instead of being keyboard warriors.
Or keyboard warriors, bit of chirp. But to answer one of the other questions I was asking, who pays when we go on double dates?
Was there a question for that?
Yeah, there was a question for that. Can I ask, when you two go on double dates with your better halves, who stands up and pays the bill? Everyone was tipping Marcus. It is Marcus, but he afterpays the bill. So Marcus pays, but it is with afterpay. So that settles that debate. But we'll move on.
That is sharp stuff from you.
Quinn DeLuca, is it true you chose an Elswick Footy Club function over watching Richmond? Not voluntarily. I actually don't have a job that pays me enough money to allow me to travel interstate to the game that you were referring. I don't know what job you have, Liam, that you can afford to go interstate willy-nilly, but I had to stay in Melbourne that weekend. I couldn't quite afford it. So I did choose the Elswick Club function that particular day, but maybe next time I'll save my pennies and we'll head across. But we do have another man waiting in the waiting room.
We do.
Now, speaking of all chirp, this guy talks a lot about coming on the show. He's been saying it a few times. We tried to get him on. He backs out last minute. We finally got him. He's waiting.
Here he is.
He's in the room.
Get him in.
Dom, jump on.
Get him in.
Hey guys, how you going?
Oh, here he is.
Loving the back as well.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, the old world curtains, eh?
Great.
That's it, mate.
Yeah.
That's it. How have you been, mate? Obviously, big Tigers man for those that don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the season that we've been having?
Look, should have won the Sydney game. We let one slip there. That was really unfortunate. And, it's been a common theme amongst this great club for, probably the year. We had Carlton on the ropes in the last quarter, even though they probably played the better game. We took our chances and then we just faded away. The St Kilda game, 5 goals up, and, we blew a 5-goal lead, ended up losing by 5 goals. So what's that, a 7-goal turnaround off the top of my head?
Quick math.
What else? We nearly blew a lead to Hawthorn. Collingwood were 8 goals up, won by 4 goals in the end. Hawthorn, 6 goals up, won by, I think, 20 points. So, we probably should be in the top 4 now that I think about it. Probably if you win 3 of those games, should have won the Sydney game, had them on the ropes. And it just seems to be the theme amongst Richmond this year. We have teams by the throat and, we can't put them away. Even against Port Adelaide, we're 5 goals up. I was at the game and I was thinking, oh, fantastic, we're back. And then I'm like, oh, not too comfortable. Let's not get comfortable yet. We know how the years panned out before. So, yeah, I'm satisfied. It could be worse, but we're coming out of the bye with a win, 7-5. So, probably got a good run home. So I reckon we can maybe win, possibly push for the bottom part of the 8. I don't think we're good enough for top 4. But, favourable run home. Hopefully, if we stay healthy, I think we're in with a real shot to even push for a home elimination final.
We'd love that. We'd love a...
Essentially what he's saying is you guys should be undefeated.
We should be undefeated. We've had some poor performances. I mean, I think the difference between our best and our worst has been what's really let us down. I think pretty sure we're second in the comp at the moment for quarters 1. I think second only the D's, who have obviously been very good this year, went in and 0 at one point. So considering we've, won the second most amount of quarters out of any other club in the comp, and then we've lost as many games as we had, it just shows that our bad quarters, our good quarters are up here and our bad ones are way too low. The gap
it's a big discrepancy between our best and worst. And, it's a bit concerning because, Port Adelaide are like us playing for, probably that 6th to 8th position still. Because it's still wide open. Don't be fooled by, the ladder just yet. There's still a lot of footy to be played. But, if we're playing a top 4 side like a Fremantle or a Brisbane, we lost by 10 goals. And 10 goals has been generous. So, we can't afford to have those slip-ups. But one man who does cop a lot of flack this year, and, you've said it yourself, Quinn, Liam, I know you're watching, mate. You've said it too. Robbie Tarrant, he's had some poor performances, some poor games this year. But that last quarter, he stood up when the game was on the line, took a few intercept marks, kept Charlie Dixon to 1 goal. So, I thought, the last couple of weeks he's been playing decent footy.
Well, he's going to have his work cut out on Thursday night, isn't he,
Yeah,
Tom?
I'm a bit concerned about that, actually. Speaking of that, Mackay and Curnow, they're in pretty good form. So I hope Tim has got a plan B up his sleeve because so far this year, when, against St Kilda, when Max King piled on 4 goals in the last quarter, he just doesn't have a plan B, Timmer. So, that's what I'm concerned about. He's got to make changes earlier.
Loving that comment. Hopper. This is great, almost as good as Bunker with the burnout. Go Pies. Yeah, the Pies fans are up and about today, aren't they?
Oh, fair enough as
Yeah,
well. They had a very
absolutely
good
fair
win.
enough.
They've won 3-0 on the trot. But
Yeah.
Liam Blanchard also commented very pessimistic, Dom Guastoliami. So we love that. We love a bit of positivity and obviously something to look forward to for the rest of the season. You spoke of Tarrant, who's one of our older boys. What are your thoughts on blokes like Kochi, Jack, Shane Edwards, Lambert, guys that are tipped to maybe finish up at the end of the year? I mean, you'd think it'd almost be too many to let go of all 4 or 5 of them retired at the end of the year. Do you reckon who stays and who goes, in your opinion?
So run through that list again. So we'll do it one by one.
I'll give a name and you give a quick yes or no.
Yep.
Jack, does he stay?
Yes.
Cochin.
No.
Shane Edwards.
Gone.
Kane Lambert.
Gone. Just because of the hip replacement. So, there's been issues with his hip and, how long he can go. So if Lambert does finish up, I'd probably say for Cochin to stay. I wouldn't want to get rid of 3 out of those guys. But I think Lambert, if he can get his hip right, looking unlikely because he's got to get a hip replacement, similar to that Michael Hurley injury. If he goes, keep Cochin. But if he can go another year, I'll probably say goodbye to Cochin. And, that's no spit to the face of Cochin. He's been a great player. He's provided a lot of joy to ourselves, Quinn. We've seen 3 grand finals. He's single-handedly turned the club around. We were rabble, mate. I remember those mid-2000s when we were 80 points down at halftime and would be kicking the footy with our uncle in the MCG car park. So Cochin been a great player, but the game has caught up with him, and that's just footy, and that's just the style he's played. That battering, like a ram, going hard at it. So it's sad, but when your time comes, it comes, and you can fall off the cliff quickly.
No, absolutely. I think I agree with you there, and those are probably the 4 main ones that I can think off the top of my head. But we obviously do have a big clash this Thursday night, Marcus. Obviously, we've spoken a little bit about it tonight. Richmond Carlton, and I don't know which way you're swaying, Dom, because I've heard you message some people saying Tigers are going to wipe the floor with you. You've said Richmond won't beat Carlton. I want to know what's going on. We need a definitive answer right here, right now. Can the Tigers beat the Blues on Thursday night?
Can I say 50-50?
No,
or do I?
no.
No.
No fence sitting. And don't be scared because Marcus is here.
All right. I'm going to say no, purely because if we get bet in the middle, we'll lose. If we get beaten in the middle, we lose. That's it.
Don't think having Lynch back and Wiedering out helps?
Look, Wiedering out, but, like I said before, you've got to win it out of the middle. No, I reckon if we can break even in the middle, probably we'll get the win, having those 2 targets. And speaking of Lynch, actually, I've been critical of him. I was critical of him at the start of the year, and he found some form in the middle part of the year and then unfortunately got injured. But he's important to our structure. He might not always kick 5-6 goals a week, but, he takes away a key defender, and then you got Jack who draws a defender. But whereas when we had no Lynch, you had Jack take in the opposition's best defender and then their second defender. So, he's critical to our chances of, pushing for the 8 and getting the win this week.
No, absolutely. And I love the next comment from Liam. Of course, we'll beat Carlton, Quinn. Big Daddy to come back and kick that bag. And I absolutely agree. If there's any occasion that Big Daddy is going to come step up,
I don't think Liam should be speaking. Especially after Thursday, disappeared for half the game.
Oh, he left you stranded. We have heard that. We've heard the story.
Yeah.
He left you stranded on Thursday night. But mate, if he's saying positive things about the Tigers, I'm more than happy to let him keep talking. But Doma, we'll bring you through the pressure cooker. I'm sure you're well aware of what that consists of. A few rapid fire questions before we wrap it up today. So, Marcus, I'll let you kick us off.
Let's kick it off. Yeah. If you had to list one player on your team, who would it be?
I know the answer.
It's not going to be Jason Castagna. He's got some trade value, actually. I'm probably delisting Will Martin. I think Christopher Sidney said that earlier. Or I would be delisting a Collier Dawkins. He's had enough time in the system.
I thought you were going with Jake Arts, to be honest. You surprised me there.
Jake Arts.
Yeah, Dom's had been very critical of Jake Arts.
If he says in the VFL, I'm happy. And then if we need him, we'll bring him in. But
pull him up. No, I like that one. All right. And then on the other token, Doma, if you could add one player from another list, who are you bringing in?
Charlie Curnow.
The Blues boys have got a Fair run tonight on
Well,
these
they're
questions.
playing good footy. It speaks for
I
itself.
like it. Would you wear your team colours to a neutral game?
No, I don't go to neutral games, so and I wouldn't want to look like an uffie anyway.
Great answer. I know the answer to this one anyway. For those listening, footy jumpers at games, yes or no? Like your jerseys.
I'm a big yes to it. I actually just bought the Dreamtime one and I've been wearing it.
There you go. I knew that one. Knew that was the
2
answer.
and 2 from it. Yeah.
Absolutely own it. Which team do you love beating the most?
I'm going to have to say Port Adelaide, and I'll tell you why, just because ever since that 2014 elimination final, I'll never forget it. I woke up the day of the morning, I was still at school, and I was so excited. I'm like, did all my schoolwork. I'm like, we're going to beat these bastards today. And, then 5 minutes into the first quarter, it was done. And I was distraught. Mum kicked me out of the house, actually, because I was getting really frustrated. Mum sent me out of the house. And ever since then, we've had some really good clashes. Probably from, I'm going to say 2017, we've had some really close games. 2017, 2018, they got us. 2019, we got up by, I think, a kick when we had the big four were missing in that round 4 clash. And then we've played a cracking game in 2020 in the home and away season. And then the prelim final, who could forget that? Probably a bit of bias here. In saying it was a great game, but even if even from a neutral perspective, if I wasn't a Richmond fan, even though it was a pretty scrappy game, you'd have to say that was a hard-fought prelim final. 2 teams going at it. So I did like to beat Collingwood, but I just feel like we've got more of a rivalry with Port at the moment, just because we've played them in a few finals.
Absolutely. No, I love that one. I love the answer. I'm not far off the mark there. Mine's always going to be Essendon, I think, but I do. Yeah, Port's not far behind, especially with some of the clashes we've had at Adelaide Oval and the way their fans react it's always pretty nice getting over them. But that's pretty much it, Tomo. Thank you for jumping on, mate. Episode 100, it's a special one for us, so we appreciate you, spending your time with us and supporting us along the way. I know you've been a long time listener, so thank you very much for jumping on. It's out.
Thanks, guys, for the entertainment. Keep it going and good work.
Thanks, Tomo.
Thanks, Tomo.
All the best, guys.
See you at training.
See you at training.
Yeah, training.
Is that a confirmation you're back?
I was hoping you hadn't hung up.
No, he heard you.
No response.
He caught the end of that. But that's pretty much wrapped us up, I think, for guests for this episode. It's been an hour and 40 minutes now. We've been flying through this. It's gone very quickly. It's been, like we said numerous times, really, really special.
Yeah. It's been huge. I mean, massive thank you to everyone who's supported us over the journey. It's just something we've just really enjoyed doing. Like, we don't see it as, which I mean, if you saw it as a chore or something that you really couldn't be bothered doing, then we definitely wouldn't have lasted 100 episodes. That's for sure. So it's been great, and just talking footy every day. I mean, we do it anyway, so may as well put some microphones in front of us and record it. So it's been really good.
Absolutely. And that's it. And then for everyone that's joined in today, whether in the comment section or you jumped on, appreciate you taking the time out to help us celebrate episode 100. It means a lot. And if you weren't able to get on today and you're listening post the live stream, feel free to shoot us a message. And, if you want to jump on at any time, let us know. And we're more than happy to have all the fans on that you want, talk footy. That's what we're all about. We love doing it. And speaking of, we have a very, very exciting episode for 101. I mean, I know we're talking in the future now, but 101 is very big. Do we shed some light, or we leave it as a surprise?
I think we can give a clue. I don't think we can reveal it.
But we'll give a clue.
A North Melbourne Premiership player from the late 90s. I mean, his number could be number 18. It could be anything. I guess you'll find out. You
have to wait and see. So that's going to be a big one coming up for 101. But before we wrap it up, we'll give our tips. Quickly, round 14.
Tigers, Blues, Tigers. I think we'll win. I definitely think we'll win. I'm not just saying I do think we are the better team. So, but it's going to be a great game. Oh, hang on.
I'm looking at the odds, and
Tigers
I'm
favourites.
Tigers are favourites. $1.82 to Carlton's $2.02. Not even close. Tigers for me for this one. We've got this in the bag.
Yep.
Next game, Friday night, St Kilda versus Essendon at Marvel Stadium.
Saints.
Yeah, St Kilda versus the bye.
I like how you're running with the fixture. It's good.
I'm just trying something different. Rolling through it, mate. Episode 100, mix it up. Saturday, during the day, 1:45, Adelaide Oval, Port versus Sydney Swans. This could be a real statement game for Port Adelaide, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think Port I think every game's a final for them now. isn't it? So
Absolutely. If they want to play
Yeah.
in the big,
I'm actually going to tip Port in this one.
I was going to tip Port as well. I think they find the right form. They've been playing some decent footy. I reckon they can beat Sydney over there in Adelaide. So
Yep.
tipping them as well. Later that day, Twilight, 4:35 Optus Stadium, West Coast versus Geelong.
West Coast.
West Coast. Yep, Geelong for me. I just realized what you said there. It took a few seconds to click. Later that night at the Giants Stadium, GWS versus the Western Bulldogs.
Modern
I was
rivals.
about to say the modern day rivalry.
Mm.
It's a big game. We love this one. Giants obviously came off a pretty comfortable win yesterday.
But I think the Bulldogs still with finals to play for. They've got a quality outfit. I think the Dogs will still win that.
I think this is another one of those cases where they have to win, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I think they're in the same boat as Port. I think they just need to keep winning.
they need to keep winning.
They can't afford too many slip-ups from here.
Well, especially with Collingwood playing such good footy and GWS and Gold Coast as well, playing good footy. And speaking of the Gold Coast Suns, they're playing on the Sunday, 3:20. Yeah, the only game on Sunday against Adelaide Crows.
I think the Suns will win this as well, and they're going to really, really be shaking that top 8, I think.
100%. So even more reason for teams like the Bulldogs, Richmond, Collingwood just to keep on pushing. So that is round 14, all previewed in a very brief and quick
It's
run
the
through.
last round of the bye rounds as well, which is good. So
Back to full-time footy.
Back to full-time footy the week after. So it's going to be great. And episode 100. It's funny how it's coincided with Richmond Carlton playing each other.
It's almost perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
How it's worked out.
So no, it's good. It's good. It's been great. It's been a long. This has probably been one of our longest episodes. It's the live stream and all the comments that have been coming through. It's been really good. So no, we really appreciate everyone that's contributed tonight and all our guests as well. And we hope you got a lot out of it too. And we certainly did. So it's been great. So,
100%.
but yeah, thank you all for joining us, and enjoy this episode if you're listening to the recording, and then keep an eye out for episode 101 with a very, very special guest, which will be out very soon as well. So, enjoy your week, and we'll chat next week.